Hi gang, Rob here. It is the afternoon of 5 December 2020, coming to you this afternoon with a watch review of, I don't know, kind of one of the favorite watches I've purchased in the last year for many, many reasons, but we'll get into that as we go along. What we're looking at today is a 2020 model of a watch that was released for production back in 2017. It is the Bulova Lunar Pilot. The Bulova Lunar Pilot, which is a high accuracy quartz chronograph by Bulova. And I really can't call it a reissue, but it is an homage to a very famous Bulova watch from the early 70s. If we look on the case back, it'll tell us a little bit about that. Apollo 15, July 26, 1971 to August 7th, 1971. EVA number 3, August 2nd, 1971. So why we thought that the Omega Speedmaster was the moon watch from that era, and in fact it was, except for the one-off Bulova, non-commissioned by NASA, but worn by Commander David Scott, carried aboard the Apollo mission in a pocket of his spacesuit, and he was issued a Speedmaster, but something funny happened on the way to the EVA that day. The crystal of his Speedmaster popped off and he had to go to his backup watch, which was a mechanical version of this beauty. A watch custom built for the purpose by Bulova for Commander Scott. And that watch walked on the moon. By the way, it sold at auction by its original owner some years back for $1.6 million. Still had moon dust on it. I will roll in a couple pictures of that watch. So, a pretty cool story, and a story worthy of a production version of that watch by Bulova, and we're so glad they did it. Yes, we are. Let's kind of look into the box. By the way, not only is that watch historical, but Bulova is a special brand to me. Back in the day when I collected a lot of vintage watches, I had a lot of Bulovas, and this is the lone survivor of those old collecting days. This is a 1959 hand-winding, waterproof 23 jewel Bulova with a beautiful sort of pipe hand style dial in kind of a pearly silver. The center portion of the dial in a beautiful guilloche finish, and then the outer ring of that domed curved dial is in more of a matte finish. White gold markers, diamonds at 12, 3, and 9 with one Arabic at 6 and sub-seconds on a beautiful genuine lizard strap. And it is gold filled in white gold. Love this old watch. Love it. Still my Sunday go-to-meeting watch for special occasions. So I've always loved Bulova. I've owned a bunch of them. And although it's not the same company anymore, now owned by Citizen, they still make some cool stuff. So here's the big box. Let's kind of pick up the camera a little bit. Let's take the inner box out so we have a less cumbersome amount of stuff. It's a very hefty, probably particle board box clad in, I don't know, it's kind of a paint, I guess, and kind of a satin finish, deep gray. Inside we got the tuning fork in the lid pad. And then this is one of the straps that the watch comes with. It is a sort of carbon fiber-like textured leather strap. And that was actually installed on the watch when I got it. And then you also get this strap, which is a two-piece sort of NATO affair, and it gives you the date of mission and then the beat frequency of the quartz movement. I probably will never wear the watch on either one of these two, just because I kind of like the strap that I picked out for it, and I think maybe it'll be worth more if I leave that stuff intact. If I ever decide to sell it, I'm not sure it'll ever have much collectible value, but you never know. And then if we lift out this tray, we find some pretty cool stuff underneath. Setting instructions and warranty information. And then the Bulova certificate of authenticity. And then this little booklet, which is so cool. It gives us a history of the Bulova watch company in space. And I didn't know this, but one thing that's pretty cool is that if you remember, Bulova was the maker of the legendary Accutron tuning fork watch, the precursor to quartz, by the way. And Accutron tuning fork movements were used in NASA spacecraft as timekeeping devices, separate from this watch. But this little booklet tells the cool story of Bulova Commander Scott, this watch. Neat stuff. And guys, I'll tell you, the last few years of Bulova, even with their Precisionist series of watches, the other watches that carry this high performance quartz, their stuff has been kind of, I don't know, it's been kind of garish, and kind of department store-y, which Bulova's always been a department store brand, but this watch is special, I think. It really is. So let's bring it back in front of the camera. So let's kind of go over the specifics of this thing. A little, but not much larger than the original Bulova Moon watch. 45 millimeters in case diameter, 13.5 thick, a robust 53 lug to lug, so it is a large wearing watch. Throwing some wrist roll footage for you guys to show you how it wears. And I have smallish wrists, about 7 1/8 inches, and it's really all I want as far as size. The details of this watch are so special, though. It is a very fine bead blast on most of the case, and then these pushers, which are rather interesting, have a satin or brushed on top and then polished edges, and then the coined edge crown is domed and polished, and I'm not sure how well this will show up, but it's actually got the tuning fork signature. The dial is a real thing of beauty. It is black, and most of it is a matte finish. The subdials have a concentric circle guilloche pattern, and then the minute track is a different level. It actually sits below the main dial. I think you can see that. And then the date wheel at 4:30 is in black with white text. The Bulova signature. Let me start the chronograph hand to get it out of the way. So Bulova signature under the 12 o'clock marker, and then the 262 kilohertz text in the running seconds dial. So, and then an enclosed under the crystal tachymeter scale around the edge that is on a totally different level, I think you can see. The crystal on this watch is pretty doggone cool. Let me give it a quick wipe. It is an anti-reflective coated sapphire crystal, dead flat, as you can see, and then it is boxed in a very square fashion, and then the circumference of that crystal in the boxed edge is blasted, and then I hope I can get this camera to pick this up, but there is a very slight chamfer that's polished. Tall bezel. You guys, I don't wear this watch often, maybe once every 10 days or so, but I've had it about 8 months, I guess, and that bead blast finish is holding up very, very well. Now this is a chronograph version of the Precisionist movement. It uses a 3-pronged tuning fork shaped quartz crystal. It does beat at 262 kilohertz, which is 8 times the frequency of the standard quartz movement. It is accurate to plus or minus 10 seconds per year, and I can verify that. I set this watch when it was brand new, back in early April. I reset it at the beginning of November when we went from daylight savings back to standard time, and it was running according to my radio controlled G-Shock. When I set the time to go back to standard time, this was about 2.5 seconds slow. So in 7 months it was 2.5 seconds slow, so well within that plus or minus 10 seconds per year specification. Let's kind of look at how these hands work. Let me reset my chronos. You'll notice the running seconds don't have a dead smooth sweep like you would see in a Precisionist seconds hand. That hand beats twice per second. But if you start the chronograph, you're going to see that more Precisionist-like sweep out of the chrono seconds from the large hand. The 3 o'clock dial is going to measure fractions of seconds down to 1/20th. So you'll notice there are 10 indexes, and then there's a dot in between each. So it'll go to 1/20th of a second. And then the 9 o'clock hand measures 1 hour of chronograph time. Now, I believe that's a difference from the original Dave Scott moon watch, because NASA spec'd a 24-hour, I believe, chronograph scale. So what happens is you measure your fractional seconds in 1/5 around that seconds track, and then you lose that. And this is kind of a quartz watch only register at 3 o'clock anyway, so you wouldn't have had that. So the 3 sub-registers in the original watch would have been running seconds, 1 hour, and 24 hours. Either 24 or 12, I can't remember for sure. But just superb detail on that dial. I've seen one review of this watch that kind of gave it a hit on the text printing on the date wheel. I can't see that well, so it doesn't bother me a bit. As I said, I did choose a different strap for this watch. It also does come on bracelet for a lot more money, by the way. I think I bought this at Straps Co. It's just a vintage racing style leather strap, the 20 millimeters for the lug width, and then tapers down to about 16. Super comfortable, super nice to wear in the summertime. Prices on these vary kind of wildly. I bought this one at Joma Shop. I think I've still got my receipt right here. I paid $339 for this, so that's a gray market price. Comes with Joma Shop warranty rather than the Bulova warranty. I think on bracelet, some of these sell for well over $500. Definitely not a watch I'd wear every day just because of its size and because I think it's kind of historically significant, so I want to keep it as nice as I can. But it's fun. It's fun to put it on, once every week or two. It just gives you a smile when you look down at it. Just kind of look at how the functions work. Top pusher, as usual is going to start and stop your chronograph, and it's got a nice positive click. There's a little bit of take up, and then you kind of a hard stop, and then a good little pop. Now your fractional seconds sub register is going to run for the first 30 seconds, and we'll just kind of watch it go. And then you'll see it stop at 0 when the main chronoseconds hand gets to the 30-second position. And we're there. Now, it doesn't stop tracking time. We'll stop it. And I stopped it at a place where, there we go. So it still tracks time. It just doesn't register time to save battery life. And then the bottom button is going to reset. You'll see that fractional seconds hand jump back, and then the main chronoseconds hand kind of sweeps back to 0. If your dials get out of adjustment, there is a procedure to line them back up at 0, which I've had to do once, I think. I actually purchased one of these used from an eBay seller that I think was a pawn shop. And the 60-minute register was not working correctly, and I was trying to line it up. And while I was trying to line it up, which is a fruitless endeavor, by the way, that hand fell off. It was probably spinning on that pinion the whole time. So yeah, that didn't work out. I went ahead and bought the new gray market watch from Joma Shop. So if you're kind of a Bulova fan and a space history fan, that Lunar Pilot is probably a good pickup for you. They don't break the bank, and I think they're pretty cool. Definitely significant, and I think some of the best work Bulova is doing right now. How's it look next to my old 1959 dress watch? Not bad. Extremely legible dial. Extremely legible. I will say with that sunken minute track and in some shadows you lose the minute track a little bit, but who cares? It's beautiful. If you've been on the fence about one of these, I would say if you have wrists 7 inches or smaller, don't buy it as a daily wear watch. But even if you do have small wrists and you want to buy it just to be part of the rotation and have a little fun with once in a while, definitely a good pickup. And the movement does absolutely work as advertised. Super accurate. Not quite as accurate as my Longines Conquest VHP, but not bad at all. This one, as I said, runs well within that plus or minus 10 seconds a year spec. And it's, I think, very cool to see a quartz watch with a sweeping hand. Thought you guys would like to see that. That's all for this one. Grace to you and peace, my friends, from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Remember, the word is sharp, and my Bulova Lunar Pilot is always right on time, and I mean right on time. Talk to you soon.